Hey, now it's time to take off. Gotta keep it live and raw. Better stay tuned in. Man, our NFL talk. I know that you ready for more. They on the field, ready for war. Who's in the lead? I'm checking the score. We about to do it like never before. NFL live, uncut, raw. This is Man Hour NFL talk. Let's go.
And now, Mike's thoughts.
The simple fact of the matter is that the Dallas Cowboys are stupid. The Dallas Cowboys are stupid. Ask the 10, ask the 9, ask the 11, ask the 12. What do you want to call them? They're signing players that don't make any sense. They're not making any moves. They're signing Turpin to an $18 million deal. They are not going after DeAndre Hopkins, which now he is a Baltimore Ravens. They were not going after Stephon Diggs, which he's still a free agent. They're not going after Amari Cooper, which he's still a free agent. They're not going after Von Miller or Joey Bosa or Jadarius Smith. They're not going after anybody. They're signing their own guys by the name of Turpin to an $18 million deal. Guys, the Dallas Cowboys are dumber than a box of rocks. Let's just be flat honest. The Dallas Cowboys are dumber than a box of rocks. Jerry Jones might be the best owner in all of NFL sports, or all of sports in general. Jerry Jones might be the best salesman in the world, but he is a terrible GM. He is a terrible head coach. He is a terrible offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. He's a terrible evaluation of talent, period. Guys, if I was a Dallas Cowboys fan, which I broke up with the Dallas Cowboys, they're no longer my boys anymore, I would be pissed. The Dallas Cowboys do have 9 draft picks still, right? They could go out there and make a splash in the draft. But the simple fact of the matter is I would be pissed off if I'm Dak Prescott. I would be pissed off if I'm CeeDee Lamb. I would be pissed off if I'm a fan of the Dallas Cowboys. Your big move this free agency period, Turpin? Turpin? When Justin Reed is going to the Saints, DeAndre Hopkins is going to the Ravens, DK Metcalf is going to the Steelers. There's trades and stuff happening all over the place. Dallas Cowboys, do better. Y'all just freaking suck at the end of the day. Cue that intro. Are you ready for the best damn NFL show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
Yeah, hey, let's go. Hitting that gridiron, we going hard, we running the plays. You know the vibe, only the strong survive. Gotta keep your head in the game. Talking NFL, uncut, straight raw. Steady bringing that sauce. We about to take off. Get it hype, this man, our sport talk. Yeah, from the quarterback to the lineman. Everybody bringing heat. You don't really want to try them. Hey, who gon' win? It's a battle of the giants. This show is the flyest. Nobody can deny it. This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception? This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception?
Let's go. What is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckhuister here with the Man Hour. Be sure to head to ManHourRadio.com. Check out the merchandise page or check out the blog section as well. But most importantly, guys, if you guys are enjoying any aspect of the show, hit that like button right now. Whatever platform you listen to us on YouTube, on the TikToks, on the old Facebook, Spotify, wherever you're listening to us on, give us that like button and also share this with a couple friends. Because sharing is caring at the end of the day. Guys, it is March 3rd, 2025, 9:12 here on the East Coast time on the PM side of things. And guys, we got a great show for you lined up today. We're going to talk about the Eagles' repeat chances. They're looking very, very, very few and far between at this particular point. Daniel Jones has a 1-year deal to the Colts. How big is that? Justin Fields, a 2-year, $40 million deal with the New York Football Jets. Let's go, baby. Super Bowl bound. The Chicago Bears. That's right. We do got to talk about the Chicago Bears. Guys, they may have been the most improved team so far this offseason. The Chicago Bears are going all in, and they're doing great things. Chris Godwin to the Bucks, J.J. McCarthy, the future in Minnesota, and then we got this beautiful segment called What The? That's right. We're bringing back the beautiful segment of What The? I've been scouring the old interwebs and things that make it go, what the? That's right. We're going to talk about Joshua Palmer to the Buffalo Bills, the Jaguars signing Dyami Brown, and then the 49ers bring in Luke Farell. The man, the myth, the legend, him like himself. And then we wrap up with every show with a little bit of fact and a little bit of track. We're going to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs adding Fulton from the LA Chargers. We're going to talk about the Texans being top dogs in the AFC. And then we got to talk about the Arizona Cardinals. We're going to talk about the Arizona Cardinals signing Josh Sweat, getting that man some da-da-da-da bills, yo. And, oh, man, they are looking scary. Before we get too carried away, guys, we got to welcome some people into the chat. We got to welcome the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Pigskin Pundit himself, Mr. Jim Powell's in the chat. What's up, Jim? What's up, guys? Jim is the CEO of the Picks and Punts. If you want to be like Jim, hit on the subscribe button down below. Click on the membership tab. Bada bing, bada boom. You get yourself a nice little Pigskin Pundit shirt. This was this quarter's shirt. We're working on April, May, and June shirt coming up. We got some hoodies. You get free entry into our $1,000 pick'ems in 2025. So what's up, Jim Powell? We got my man, John. John is also a pigskin punter. He says some crazy moves and signings are going on in the NFL. Guys, yes, this has been the most activity that I remember in recent history. There's a lot of movements happening. In the last 3 days, that one domino fell. Geno Smith to the Raiders, and then all hell has broken loose. All hell has broken loose across the NFL. DK getting traded, Justin Reed signing with the Saints, Sweat going to the Cardinals, CJ Gardner-Johnson getting traded to the Texans. It has just been trades and signings. It's trades and signing. Matter of fact, I posted so much on Facebook that I got a little bit of restricted saying that I've been spamming. So that is how much movement is going on across the NFL landscape. So welcome to the show, John. Jim says, same, but for different reasons. Don't know what you're talking about there. Old Man River says no voice. The mute is on. Yes, guys, I did have the mute on. I had a little sneezing attack earlier. I muted it, and bada bing, bada boom, we had to, not blast the mic with the old snot, or not the O's, right? Alpha Rob says, what up, Buck? What up, Alpha Rob? And Mr. Trouble said the Ravens got DeAndre Hopkins. Mr. Trouble, I was actually so I have a little spreadsheet, guys, that brings all the news in from Twitter and Facebook and ESPN, and it puts it all in one little nice little spreadsheet where I can read through it. And I was scrolling through, and I saw that D-Hop signed with the Baltimore Ravens. I believe it was a 1 year kind of, was it $15 million deal, if I'm not mistaken. But DeAndre Hopkins, guys, to the Ravens might sound like a great thing. Might move the needle in some of the fan base's eyes. But me, on the surface, I think Alpha Rob said it best last night that DeAndre Hopkins is kind of over that hill, right? He had, 12 games with Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, and he really did a whole lot of nothing, right? Matter of fact, he had 2 big drops in the playoffs or in the Super Bowl alone, that I'm not saying it cost the Kansas City Chiefs the game, but definitely cost him the momentum to potentially win that game. And to be honest, the Baltimore Ravens didn't really need any receiver help, right? They have Zay Flowers still. They have Rashad Bateman. They had Nelson Aguilar. And plus they got Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely as well. Now, D-Hop is going to be probably the second or third option on that team. However, DeAndre Hopkins is a route running type of or a route running type of receiver. He is not a freelance type of guy. He is a get out there and kind of run routes and kind of be that possessive guy. And he isn't going to burn you. He isn't going to be beating you up over the top. That's just not his body of work anymore. Now, on paper, it sounds awesome. On Madden, it sounds awesome. Sitting here on a radio show, on a TV show, it sounds awesome. But when you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, I do not think DeAndre Hopkins will jive well with that Baltimore Ravens offense. I don't think he's going to jive well with Zay Flowers. I don't think he's going to jive well with Nelson Aguilar or Rashad Bateman. And honestly, it would not shock me one bit if the Ravens are strictly picking him up for some trade value down the road, maybe before the Halloween trade deadline or this or that. But the simple fact of the matter is, yes, they did sign DeAndre Hopkins. Yes, it is good news on fans' eyes, right? Hey, we're making some moves. We aren't just being stagnant. We're not being like the Dallas Cowboys. But truth be told, I don't think it's a needle mover. I don't think it's a needle mover at all. And I would not get very hyped about it, to be honest. And John says right here, and John, I agree with you, the Baltimore Ravens haven't done nothing. The only thing they've done is sign old DeAndre Hopkins. That is the only thing that they have done. I mean, as far as I've seen, that is the only thing that they have done. And you know what they say about, life in general, right? If you're not going forward, you're going backwards. Now, this is a little step trying to go forward, but truth be told, I think they just took a step forward and then took two steps back with this D-Hop signing. And then Alpha Rob says, if it was 2019, it would have been a great signing. And I agree with you. If it was Houston Texans, DeAndre Hopkins, oh boy, watch out, baby. Hell, even if it was 1 or 2 year Arizona Cardinal, DeAndre Hopkins. But truth be told, ever since he went to the Tennessee Titans, he has not been the man, the myth, the legend that many people have made him out to be. Mr. Trouble also said that Zay Flowers got injured. He did get injured, but it is a long time until August, right? Hell, it's a long time till September. He will be fine come week 1. I'm not worried about it as well. Jim wants to come out here and fire those gats. Jim wants to come out here and say Xavier Worthy is guilty. Jim, you are 100% right. Xavier Worthy is guilty. Xavier Worthy is guilty of dating a gold-digging little biatch. Let's just be flat out honest. That is what Xavier Worthy is guilty of. Xavier Worthy is guilty for dating a gold digger. Xavier Worthy is guilty of putting himself in a situation to where a girl could potentially ruin his whole career because he is not paying her or buying her bags or doing this or whatever, yada, yada, yada. Luckily for Xavier Worthy, he had an entourage around him. Luckily for Xavier Worthy, there was 5, 6, 7, 8 people that all collaborated the same exact story. Xavier Worthy is guilty for giving that girl a second chance. Xavier Worthy is guilty for holding his own. Xavier Worthy is guilty for not retaliating. That is what Xavier Worthy is guilty of, Jim. Xavier Worthy's not guilty of strangling a hoe. Xavier Worthy's not guilty of drinking and driving. Xavier Worthy's not guilty of beating down a baby back bitch like Von Miller. Xavier Worthy, the only thing he is guilty of is sticking to his old ways, dating the girl that he did, that she's already turned him in once for this assault crap back in college, I think it was, right? That's the only thing that Xavier Worthy is guilty of. That's the only thing he is guilty of. And Robert says, no offense, but only Chiefs fans care about Xavier Worthy. Robbie, no offense, but Xavier Worthy is going to be the best number 2 receiver in the NFL next season. He is going to take that spot from Jordan Addison. Xavier Worthy is going to come out next season, and he is going to explode off the map. Hell, actually, he's going to be the number 3 receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's going to be the best number 3 receiver in all of NFL. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to be dangerous next year, Robbie. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to go back to the Super Bowl for the 4th time in a row. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to play another extra 14 games extra than the rest of the NFL the last 4 seasons. A whole extra season because they are that freaking good, baby. And John says, whoa, slow it down, baby. You cannot be talking about Xavier Worthy as the best number 2 receiver in the NFL or the best number 3 receiver in the NFL until you put T. Higgins in your mouth. John, I do like me some T. Higgins. I do like me some T. Higgins. However, let's be honest. If T. Higgins was on the Cincinnati Bengals, he would probably be a number 1 receiver on most teams, but he would still not be putting up 1,000 yards. He would still not be scoring some touchdowns. He would still not be a lot of things, right? He's definitely top 5 number 2 receiver in the NFL. Do not get that twisted. But I misspoke on Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy will be the number 3 receiver on the Kansas City Chiefs behind Hollywood Brown. Forgot he signed his deal 1 year. Is it 1 year extension or 2 year extension? Still have Rashid Rice, and then you got Xavier Worthy. So I'm just you are right. I'm not forgetting about T. Higgins, but I still think Xavier Worthy is better than T. Higgins. And Jim says, Chiefs fan deranged syndrome at its finest. You're right, baby. You are right. The optimistic is real over here in the Buckeister household. The optimistic is real right here on Man Hour NFL Talk Live, raw, uncut NFL Talk every Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. East Coast time. The point of the matter is who can beat the Kansas City Chiefs? Let's just be flat honest. Yes, the Kansas City Chiefs did just lose Justin Reed. I get it. Yes, they did lose a defensive tackle I like as well to the Jaguars, I do believe. But they brought in some players. They brought in Fulton. They re-signed Nick Bolton. We're going to get another safety from the Texans because that's just the way it works, baby. Hey, once you beat us, beating the Raiders or the Chargers, all you Pigskin Pundit fans, the Buffalo Bills, Ravens, etc., then you can talk that shit. And Robbie's like, the Eagles beat the Chiefs. Congratulations. That was 2024 NFL season. 2024 NFL season is gone and gone. Dead and gone, like my man JT says. JT's Justin Timberlake. Dead and gone, is the 2024 NFL season. You also know what happened in the past there, Robbie, as well? In 2023, Christmas Day, we were all sitting there opening our presents, watching the Chiefs game, taking on the Raiders. And guess what? The Raiders beat the Kansas City Chiefs 2 years ago, and they're still gloating about it. It's been, 600 or 500 and some odd days since that happened. They're still gloating about it. Christmas Day 2023, we owned y'all. Well, guess what? We won the Super Bowl that particular year. We went back to the Super Bowl next year. In 2025, we're going to go back to the Super Bowl again. That's exactly what Jim says. It's Christmas Day, baby. Christmas Day, baby.
Pigskin pun. Get you some.
And Jim also said, I heard the Eagles were good enough too. They were good enough. They were good enough to win the Super Bowl. Now, will they repeat? Slow it down, baby. Slow it down, baby, because that is where our show starts at tonight. Our show starts off tonight talking about the Philadelphia Eagles. Guys, the Philadelphia Eagles had the best defense in all of NFL in 2024. The Philadelphia Eagles had the best overall team, the best roster from top to bottom in 2024. When they played their A game, there was not a single team in the NFL that was going to beat them. Well, guess what? The offseason has been not friendly to the Philadelphia Eagles on the defensive side of the ball. The Eagles have lost a lot of their big-name players from 2024, including C.J. Garner-Johnson, Josh Sweat, Darius Slay, James Bradbury, just to name a few. Matter of fact, most of the players that they've lost have been in the secondary on the defensive side of the ball. So when we look at the Philadelphia Eagles, guys, will they repeat in 2025? Can they go back to the Super Bowl and beat an AFC team in the Super Bowl in 2025? The biggest staple of the Philadelphia Eagles last season, guys, was their running game. Let's call a spade a spade. Saquon Barkley was the man, the myth, the legend. They had the second best running attack in the NFL in the regular season at 179.3 yards per game. In the playoffs, they were the second best team in the rushing category in the NFL at 227.7 yards per game. On the flip side, they had the number one defense in 2024. First overall defense, first in pass defense, and 10th in rush defense. So far, this free agency period, the only thing they have done on the defensive side of the ball is they re-signed Zach Braun, which was a great signing. It was 3 years, $54 million, if I'm not mistaken. I'm thinking off the top of my head here. But beyond that, they have released Darius Slay. They've released James Bradbury. They traded C.J. Garner-Johnson. Josh Sweat signed with a new team. Those are four big names from that defense that just poof, gone like the wind, baby. Now, as of Josh Sweat was a huge part of the Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl win. Let's just get it twisted. Josh Sweat should have won that MVP. He was the man, the myth, the legend. But his overall success in 2024 was meh. Right? Meh. He was just ranked 28th overall as an edge rusher in the NFL. He was ranked 38th in pass rush grade and 48th ranked in the run defensive grade. Not a very good season for Josh Sweat. On the other side of the ball, James Bradbury, not very good ranking-wise. Darius Slay, not very good ranking-wise, both below the top 20. And C.J. Garner-Johnson barely snuck into the top 20 in the overall grade. Now, the Eagles had one of the deepest secondaries in the NFL last season before injury started to bite them a little bit. If you guys remember, back in June and July and August of last season, we actually talked about the Philadelphia Eagles potentially having to release James Bradbury or Darius Slay before the season even started. So, guys, when you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, they are a good team. They're still going to have that run, dominant offense, ball control offense. Their defense is still going to be very, very good. Do not get it twisted. That front seven is best in the NFL, even without Josh Sweat. They can still add Joey Bosa. They can still add Von Miller. They could still add Jadarius Smith. There's still a long offseason still to have, plus a draft. But the secondary's gotten a little thin. So will they repeat in 2025? I have to say no. They will not repeat in 2025. Super Bowl hangover is a real deal, especially in the NFC. Granted, they did win, but usually when a team loses in the NFC in the Super Bowl or wins it, they don't even make the playoffs or the championship game, I should say, the following season. Now, I'm not saying that the Eagles will not make a decent run. I am not saying that the Eagles cannot have a good season next season, but the NFC just got a hell of a lot better. The Rams got a hell of a lot better. The Detroit Lions Super Bowl window is still open a little bit. Green Bay Packers get a little bit better. And the Chicago Bears, we need to stop sleeping on them. Me especially. I'm wearing my Chicago Cubs hat, City Connection hat tonight for a reason. Because I might be jumping on that Chicago Bears bandwagon. But guys, let me ask you this question. When we look at the Philadelphia Eagles, losing Josh Sweat, losing Darius Slay, losing C.J. Garner-Johnson, James Bradbury, just to name a few. More are probably on the way. Can they rebuild and repeat in 2025? John says, nah. The Eagles are going to flip this year. So they're going to go from 14-3 to 3-14, John? Is that what you're saying? Are you predicting them to have a losing season with 3 wins? That would be tough. Oh, he's like he said flop, but still flop. That's tough. So when you say flop, John, are you still saying that they can compete in the NFC, make the playoffs as a wild card? Because let's just be honest, I think everybody and their dogs is going to be picking the Commanders to win that NFC East. Everybody and their dogs are probably going to pick the Commanders to make it to the NFC Championship game yet again. Is a flop losing a wild card game? Is a flop not making the playoffs? What do you consider a flop? Jim says the NFC Super Bowl hangover syndrome is a real deal. Jim, you are right. Now, I do not have the numbers out in front of me as of right now, but I cannot remember one NFC team even remotely attempting to make it back to the Super Bowl the following year after the Super Bowl. Because let's think about this logically, right? The Kansas City Chiefs played the old who did they play last year? Can't even remember who they played. Needless to say, that team is not in there. It was the 49ers, right? 49ers were not in there. The previous year before that was the Eagles. No repeat. The previous year before that was the 49ers. No repeat. The previous year before that was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. No repeat, right? The NFC does not have repeat teams going to the Super Bowl year after year. So Super Bowl hangover syndrome in the NFC is the real deal. Is a real thing. Maybe they can break the curse. Maybe. Old Man River says, Buck, I don't think so. Old Man River says, I do not think the Philadelphia Eagles will make it to the Super Bowl again in 2025. Now, let's not get it twisted. Old Man River is the pigskin pundit.
Pigskin pun. Get you some.
And he does have like 5 teams that he does like. He does like the Seahawks. He does like the Cowboys. He does like the Lions and the Raiders and I think the Houston Texans, right? So maybe he's just saying, hey, it's Lions time to shine, baby. Hey, it's the Commanders time to shine. But he doesn't think so. My man Alpha Rob says, I don't think Barkley is going to have the same season. I think you are exactly right, Alpha Rob. Now, I'm not saying that Saquon Barkley has a good season and then a mediocre season and a good season and a mediocre season, but I'm saying the stats show you that he has a good season and he has a mediocre season and gets injured. He has a good season and has a mediocre season and gets injured. I am also saying that the Philadelphia Eagles are picking up a bunch of the Texans' old linemen. Was it Laramie Tunzel, right? That they just signed. Was it Laramie Tunzel? I can't remember. The Eagles just signed some offensive lineman, traded for C.J. Gardner-Johnson for an offensive lineman, one of the worst offensive lines in the league. Not for sure bringing him over to the Eagles is a great choice, but hey, you do you, boss. But the Eagles' offensive line is getting old. Lane Johnson's like 15 years in the league, whatever. They're trying to rebuild and repair. I get it. But Saquon Barkley was a downhill runner last year because of that strong offensive line. People will start to key on that. People will force Jalen Hurts to beat them, right? Now, Farell says, he'll still be good, just not 2,000 yards good. There's never been a repeat 2,000 yard season. Actually, I think the last 2,000 yard season was what? Latavius Murray for the Dallas Cowboys, right? And then he got traded off or he was a free agent, went to the Texans. I don't think he ever, whatever. John says the Eagles might make the playoffs. Might. Very slim possibility. But honestly, let's look at the NFC logically here, right? The Rams, I think, is the best team in the NFC. They're going to win the West. Let's look at the North. Let's probably give it to the Lions. We have to give credit where credit is due. Lions are a good team. We head out to the East. Let's say the Commanders win that division. Let's head out to the NFC South. The Panthers are doing some big moves, but I still got to give it to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then we're looking at wild cards, right? The wild cards are probably going to be the Packers. You might throw the Bears in there. Hell, you might even throw the Vikings in there. The whole NFC North could potentially make it, but it is still the Bears at the end of the day. So I'm going to give it to the Vikings and then the Packers. And then we have that 7th seed, right? Is it going to be the Eagles? Is it going to be the Cardinals? Is it going to be the Panthers? Like the NFC all of a sudden got really good. I mean, they are really convoluted right there from 3 to about 10 range, right? Any team could jump up there and kind of shock you. So, and unfortunately, the Eagles are on the outside looking in on that. John says, I agree with Rob. I think Barkley is nothing like last year. Mediocre at best, if not an injury bug comes back and bite him. And that's his MO. I'm not here to wish ill will on anybody. Let's just be flat out honest. I'm not here to wish any injury or bad juju on any team. But history shows Saquon Barkley breaks 1,000 yards, then he's below 1,000 yards. Then he breaks 1,000 yards, then he's below 1,000 yards. Granted, it was with the Giants, but still, history has a way of repeating itself. West Philly Black is in the chat. What's up, West Philly Black? Be sure to hit that like button, my man. He says, Eagles will repeat next year as champions. To Pete. I told you they were going to go blow out the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I believe you are correct. I don't remember your exact score. I think you had the Chiefs scoring like 21 points. You had your Eagles like 40 points. But yeah, definitely a blowout. But let's slow down the two-peat. First of all, two-peat's the absolutely asinine thing that you can say. Say repeat or back-to-back. Two-peat is just never say that again. I want you to take two-peat, write it down on a piece of paper in a Sharpie, and then put it in the trash, and we never say that again. We'll say back-to-back or repeat, okay? But the Eagles do have a good opportunity to repeat. I agree. They still have one of the best offenses of running games in the NFL. They're still going to have a top 10, top 12 defense in the NFL. No question about that. Despite losing Darius Slade, Josh Sweat, James Bradley, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, just to name a few. They still have a lot of competition, though. The NFC might be the most competitive this season as well. And Old Man River says, and Dallas stayed the same. Of course, you got to speak about the Dallas Cowboys. But what do you guys think? Can the Philadelphia Eagles repeat in 2025? I'm saying no, and I think the majority of this chat is saying no, besides West Philly Black. Obviously, he is a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Let's move on. My bad, guys. The old allergies are getting me today. Old allergies are getting me. All right, we back. We live, raw, and uncut NFL talk. My man, Daniel Jones. As you guys heard first about 2 weeks ago, I said Daniel Jones was going to sign with the Indianapolis Colts, and that's exactly what Daniel Jones just did. Daniel Jones just signed a 1-year privy deal with the Indianapolis Colts. Daniel Jones is expected to battle for starting position with Anthony Richardson in this 2025 NFL season. So, guys, when you look at Daniel Jones signing with the Indianapolis Colts, when you look at Anthony Richardson being the default starting quarterback as of right now for the Indianapolis Colts, are you excited if you are a Colts fan by the signing of Daniel Jones? Exciting is a very, very tough pill to swallow in Indianapolis. Because I have been high on the Indianapolis Colts the last couple seasons. I thought they had everything going in the right direction. Right? I thought they had everything going in the right direction. They had a new coach last season. They got a top draft pick, and they blow one or the other. I think Shane Steichen is a good coach, but they definitely blew the Anthony Richardson draft pick because, those two systems do not match. But when we look at Daniel Jones, he is not a bad quarterback, guys. Daniel Jones is a nice, decent, mid-tier quarterback. He is not elite. He's not great. He is just mid-tier, average 14th, 15th, 16th ranked quarterback in the NFL. He did lead the Giants to the playoffs back in 2022 in their, quote, rebuild year. That was Brian Daboll's first year. They did beat the Minnesota Vikings in that wild card game. Right? Now, this was supposed to be a rebuild year for the New York Giants back in 2022. Daniel Jones carried the team into the playoffs. Of course, Saquon Barkley helped a little bit. But then they're like, we don't need to rebuild, and nothing was built around him. So therefore, Daniel Jones kind of just got the brunt of it, and the whole thing fell apart. Now, the Colts signed Daniel Jones to a prove-it deal, but it is also there to push Anthony Richardson, meaning they will be open competition for his QB1 come this offseason. Now, Richardson does not fit the Shane Steichen system. Let's just be flat out honest. Shane Steichen's system is a drop-back quarterback type of quarterback stay in the pocket type of system. Read the system, push the ball down the field. Anthony Richardson is not that. He is a roll the pocket, scramble, that type of thing. So it is clear from day one that this was not a marriage meant to happen. This was a lust, right? This was a lust, and we like that pick, and maybe we can make something happen, but the truth of the matter is an epic failure, right? And let's say, for example, Daniel Jones does get that starting nod. But let's say Daniel Jones does suck. I think Daniel Jones will ride out the whole season long, and they'll be perfectly fine with it because the Indianapolis Colts are playing chess right now. The Colts are trading away some key parts of their defense. They're getting some draft capital in return just in case they got to move up in the draft next season. But let's just be flat out honest. The Indianapolis Colts are tanking the 2025 NFL season. The Indianapolis Colts and Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson and whoever, right? They are banking on Arch Manning for 2026. The Indianapolis Colts are not looking to win in 2025. The Indianapolis Colts are being just relevant enough to keep Shane Steichen around for 2026 and then bring in Arch Manning. So, guys, obviously, this signing of Daniel Jones does not move the needle. Right, I do like the signing. I think it's a great signing. I do think it is a match made in heaven, and the Colts can possibly be a 6, 7, if not an 8-win team. There's no question about that, but they don't want to do that. I think the Colts need to do what the Jaguars are doing this year, next year. Clean everybody out. Trade away Anthony Richardson, let Daniel Jones walk, maybe sign him to a backup deal, whatever. Maybe get rid of Michael Pittman Jr. while you still can. They're already getting rid of those parts of the defense. But Arch Manning is coming to the Indianapolis Colts in 2026. The Manning legacy will reign supreme in Indianapolis, Indiana, yet once again. So this signing is not about winning in 2025. This signing is all about basically a bad look for Daniel Jones. It is a Shane Steichen way out. And this is not a needle mover at all. At all. Old Man Rivers says Daniel Jones is better than Anthony Richardson. He is to an extent. in the Shane Steichen system, Daniel Jones will be better than Anthony Richardson. But if you put Anthony Richardson in a system like, I don't know, down there in Arizona, Anthony Richardson would be better than Daniel Jones. It is all about system, right? All about the system. Derek said it worked out for the Raiders last year. It did. It did. Although the Raiders did fumble away the first overall pick by winning a couple of games toward the end of the season, but yeah, it did, Brett. It did work. Alpha Rob says, who can get excited by Daniel Jones? He's better than what they have. They're excited for 2026. Let's just be honest. They're excited for 2026. And Old Man River says Indianapolis Colts will be 7-10 next season. That's pushing it. That is pushing it. But you know, the minute I start to not buy the Indianapolis Colts, they're going to win the AFC South. They're going to finally make the playoffs, and they're going to upset my Kansas City Chiefs yet again in the wild card round. Back like what they did with that. What was it? 2013 they did that. Whatever. Daniel Jones to the Indianapolis Colts. Big deal, no deal, different. Justin Fields got a new deal. 2 years, $40 million, and he will be the starting quarterback for the New York Football Jets in 2025. Rumors have it that he was in several talks with other teams, including the Pittsburgh Steelers, before signing with the Jets with a 2-year, $40 million deal. Guys, is Justin Fields to the New York Jets a great move? Is it a great signing? Does that get you excited? Does that move the needle in New York? Now, guys, Justin Fields was a pretty damn good college quarterback. There's a reason why Justin Fields was drafted in the first round. There's a reason why Justin Fields is getting yet another opportunity and getting a pretty good payday. Let's just be flat out honest. $20 million a season is nothing to sneeze about. Justin Fields joins back up with his college teammate Garrett Wilson in New York, where they made a lot of huge plays. Now, I'm not saying that I expect a lot of big plays right off the bat, but I'm saying the Jets are not in a horrible spot. The Jets have a lot of nice little pieces around them, right? Nice little pieces around them. Their defense clearly is a staple on the team right now. They finished 3rd overall in defensive category last season, despite having a few meltdowns in some of the games last season. The offense needs some work. That's why they added Justin Fields. Justin Fields plus Garrett Wilson plus Alan Lazard plus a 7th overall draft pick, maybe Travis Hunter, could be a little bit dangerous, right? Now, they still have the 7th overall draft pick. They could draft Tyler Warren, the tight end from, or they could draft some offensive line help in Josh Simmons from The Ohio State University. Now, guys, the Jets are realistically a few players away. Let's just be flat out honest. The Jets are realistically a few players away from competing with the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East. Now, is Justin Fields that guy? Potentially. But let's just be honest. Justin Fields' NFL career has not gone off to a great start. 1,800 yards passing his first season, 2,200 yards the following season, 2,500 yards his third season, and last year, 1,100 yards. 45 total touchdowns to 11 interceptions. He has an average QBR of 48. And he takes a lot of sacks. But the simple fact of the matter is, this is not a needle mover yet in New York. Much like Geno Smith to the Raiders is not a needle mover yet. But now, instead of thinking that your glass is half empty, now your glass is half full. Justin Fields adds a little optimism in New York. Justin Fields adds a lot of youth, a lot of muster, a lot of prove it in New York. And not only that, they are boosting up the offensive line just a little bit because they also just picked up a Texans offensive line as well. Not saying the offensive lineman is great by any stretch of the imagination. I think he was 68th overall in his particular category, but the Jets are making some moves. So, guys, what do you think? Is the Justin Fields signing to the New York Football Jets a great move? Alpha Rob says it is a great signing by the Jets. It's a 2-year guarantee win for the Buffalo Bills. Now, Alpha Rob, I want you to slow it down, baby. Slow it down. The Buffalo Bills. We're going to be talking about your Buffalo Bills in the What The segment. We'll be talking about you. John says, I like it, but it takes away from Hall. I do not think it takes away from Breece Hall at all. Matter of fact, I think it adds to the Breece Hall saga. Right? Breece Hall was his rookie season. I think he ended up tearing his ACL toward the end of the season, right? He came back. Then they relied on him a lot. He kind of crumbled because there was no passing game. Yes, Aaron Rodgers was a top 10 quarterback stat-wise in the NFL, but he was not very good. Let's just be flat honest. They were stacking the box, and Aaron Rodgers couldn't push the ball down the field. Now, I'm not saying Justin Fields will push the ball down the field repetitively, but he gives you that ability. He gives you that ability to spread the field and to scramble if needed. Plus, Breece Hall can eat a little bit, right? Once they start to bring in people in the box like they did in Chicago, Justin Fields can push the ball down the field a little bit. Old Man River says, time will tell, but I do not think so. Old Man River, we don't agree on a lot of things. We don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, but I think you are correct. Justin Fields, much like DeAndre Hopkins to the Baltimore Ravens, is exciting. It is an attention-grabbing headline. 2 years, $40 million, right? The Jets finally got their quarterback. Truth be told, he's a bridge gap guy. Truth be told, he is on a 1-year prove-it deal to basically not suck. The Jets' Super Bowl window is non-existent as of right now, but their defense is pretty good. If they could add some Travis Hunter, potentially in the draft, the Jets could make a big turn in this year's NFL and AFC. We will see. John says, Field is mobile. He's not a great passer. In Justin Fields' defense, John, he has not had much time to prove that he is a good passer, right? In college, his biggest knock for Justin Fields is that he was a one-read type of guy. It was a read, and boom, he is open. Whether it's to Garrett or whether it's to whoever else that was out there, wide receiver, you there for like a little while, but one read, boom, he is there. In Chicago, he was forced to progress, right? He was forced to do this, and he was never coached up to do that properly. Now, maybe in New York, he can finally be coached up. Maybe spending a year under Russ and Mike Tomlin and that system gives them a chance to really learn, right? Sit back and relax. Jim Powell says the Jets' offensive line could easily have been bad as the Raiders if they got one. Fields has no ceiling. And Jim, you are right. Let's flash back to 2 years ago. I sat here on the show. I think, Jim, you were here. John, you were here. Alpha Rob, you were definitely here. I sat across from my man, BC Combs. BC Combs is a big Chicago Bears fan. He was like, Justin Fields needs out of town. I feel bad for Justin Fields. Get him out of town, trade him, do whatever you want. And BC said at the time, Justin Fields on any other team, this is his third year, going into his third year, on him, Justin Fields on any other team is a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. At the time, it was the Falcons and potentially the Steelers. I like at the time. I think he threw out another team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I still think to this day that Justin Fields has that capability of being the top 10 quarterback. He has a chance, right? And John says, I agree. Never really had a line. It's tough. It's tough. But I saw some breaking news coming into the headlines here. My man Jim Powell is here, guys. Obviously, it is still free agent frenzy out there. There's a lot of free agent moves happening. And we just heard from my man Jim Powell, and multiple sources are saying this as well here in the chat. I'm not on my page, but I'm assuming it is true. But Joey Bosa to the Buffalo Bills. Guys, this is pretty good. This is pretty intriguing, right? Because the Buffalo Bills just released Von Miller, got out of that contract. Joey Bosa, old man Rivers said he heard rumors of he's staying in the Bay. Matter of fact, people were saying, hey, they're working a deal right now. Well, guess what? All those people were wrong, because Joey Bosa is heading to Buffalo, New York, Orchard Park, America, to be a Buffalo Bill. How big a move is this, guys? How big a move is this? Joey Bosa, I mean, obviously we're going on the fly here. This is breaking news right now. I don't have any stats in front of me whatsoever, but Joey Bosa, I feel like might be on the latter part of his career, right? Joey Bosa could potentially just needed a change of scenery, right? Joey Bosa is only 29 years old, right? He is still fairly young, but I think he is on kind of the other side of that hill per se. Now, this is just me kind of speculating here, and I just pulled up the stats here. And last season, Joey Bosa had a 63.9 overall grade, 90th as edge rushers out of 211. He was a 64.1 pass rush grade, which was 86 out of 211, and he was 73.7 run defense grade, which was 19th. So obviously, one of the biggest things for the Buffalo Bills last season was the ability to stop the run. They could not stop the run consistently over and over and over. They played that bend, don't break defense. Joey Bosa, the 19th ranked edge defensive end in run defense with a 73.7 rush defensive grade. That is a huge step up from Von Miller. That is huge, right? That is huge because when you look at the Buffalo Bills roster now, right? The number 57, I can never remember his name. Let me look it up. Is it Espina? Like, I think he is a freaking dog. Number 57, right? Number AJ, right? He is a freaking dog. Plus you got Greg and then Ed Oliver as well, right? So is Joey Bosa going to be a rotational player? Because I don't think he starts over AJ. I mean, he could start at the left defensive end over Greg Razzuno. Actually, I think he might be a free agent if I'm not mistaken. But Joey Bosa, guys, to the Buffalo Bills is a big deal, is a big thing. This just might be just what the Buffalo Bills need to get over that hump, right? Now, if they wouldn't have signed Joshua Palmer, we'll get into that in like a minute, it could have been a big deal. But Buffalo Bills just signed Joey Bosa. I don't have any money-wise or whatever, right? So actually, let me go to my spreadsheet here and pull it up. Go down to the bottom. Puka is changing to jersey number 12. That's silly. Let's see here. Buffalo Bills. It's a 1-year, $12.6 million deal. So very, very friendly deal, right? What, Von Miller was making 20-some-odd million dollars a season. So that's $8 million savings per se with a better pass rusher, with a younger pass rusher. It was only 29 years old. So nice, a 1-year little prove-it deal for Joey Bosa, 1-year, $12.6 million deal. This is per the rap sheet. Joey Bosa is a 5-time Pro Bowler. I did not know that. He was a 5-time Pro Bowler. So, guys, what do you guys think? Is this a good move for the Buffalo Bills? Obviously, we're kind of going off the fly here, going off the hip. So what do you guys think? Alpha Rob says, my Bills making moves, baby. Let's go. Tucker says, are the Chiefs going to three-peat? They are. They are, Tucker. Jim says, Bosa's temper tantrum is a very real thing. Caused the Chargers a playoff spot with that helmet slam. When was that? 2023? Because they were in the playoffs last season versus the Texans, right? And they just got blown out. But yeah, the Bosa anger is a real thing. But obviously winning cures a lot of things, Jim, right? That is the one thing. So I just got obviously I am a scouting coordinator with the Cardinals, and then I also got a head coaching job here at a local high school as well. This high school have never had a winning season in their whole 25, 30-year high school football career, right? They actually have a total of like 15 wins total. I'm taking over a 1-win team the last 3 seasons, but I tell them winning is everything. Winning cures all, right? So when I have kids not showing up to practice, I mean lazy, we win a game, we're going to start to be better. We're starting to be a lot of excitement. So winning cures all. So Joey Bosa may have slammed that helmet because, for one, he had Brandon Stanley as a coach. That should have been fired 3 years ago. They kept bringing him back. But winning cures a lot of those egos and temper tantrums and this and this and this. Jim, you know that from the best. I've seen you play some indoor football, Mr. Temper Tantrum himself. Alpha Rob says, I like the player they signed from the Rams also, meaning Joshua Palmer. We're going to talk about Joshua Palmer. Slow down, baby. We're going to be talking about Joshua Palmer. Slow it down, baby. And John says cheap for Bosa. Exactly. mean, like, that was the biggest thing. The reason why the Chargers released Joey Bosa was because of the simple fact that he was getting paid, like $30-some-odd million a season. And what was he, the 97th ranked defensive end last year? 87th ranked, 90th ranked defensive end last season with a 63.9 overall grade. You cannot be a 90th ranked defensive end in the NFL be making $30 million. That's just not very good, right? But it is cheap for him per se, because he was 19th in run defense, so that is pretty good. And that's exactly what the Buffalo Bills needed. And James Franks in the chat, what's up, James? He says that's a nice signing for the Buffalo Bills. You are correct. John also says it's a great move if he stays healthy. That is a very, very big key. Luckily, they should have some type of rotation, right? Because they got 3 or 4 really good defensive ends that could kind of rotate. And I think that's kind of what hurt Von Miller a little bit last season. Granted, it was because he beat up a pregnant woman and was injured for the first 6 games or whatever. But he can never really get that groove. Maybe Joey Bosa can actually go 100% every play, rotate out for 2, go back in for 2, whatever. Maybe that will definitely help him, right? And then Old Man River says, obviously, depending on injuries. Yes, injuries, it's a real thing. Hopefully, he can stay healthy. And Derek says, I thought he would have signed with the 49ers. Listen, does anybody know what is going on with the 49ers? Let's just be flat out honest. Their left tackle just went to Kansas City. Their safety, I can't think of his name, and Dre Greenlaw both signed with the Denver Broncos. Shadarius Ward doesn't want to be there. The 49ers defense, everybody wants out. And what do? They sign a tight end. So we're actually going to talk about that as well. Alpha Rob says the Bills rotate their defensive line, so he will be fine. Yes, I do. So obviously rotating keeps you fresh, keeps you 100%, eliminates the risk of injury just that much more. However, there are sometimes you got to get in a groove of a game, right? There are sometimes, especially like when I played high school basketball, I was never a basketball stud. Let's not get it twisted whatsoever. My job was there to lock their best defender down, get them pissed off for about 5-6 minutes, get my 5 fouls, and go sit my happy ass on the bench. That was my whole job as a basketball player. However, there was a time when I actually got to play significant time. And I got in a little bit of groove, scored a couple baskets, and all of a sudden, like, oh, this is fun, right? And then started shooting and I actually had my first 20-point game, and only 20-point game ever. That was just because I got in the groove of the game. I got to play more than 3 minutes here, 5 minutes here, right? You actually got to get in a groove. And hopefully Joey Bosa can understand that he's not going to be able to get in that groove and has to come out and perform, right? So James says you got to update us on the progress of your squad. We will definitely 100% talk about. So I am a defensive coordinator at Eastern Pekin here in Indiana, and then obviously scouting coordinator with the Louisville Cardinals. So we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about that. James says the 49ers are selling the squad so they can be a team in 2020-30. Ugh. That's tough. Alpha Rob says Michael Hotchick from the Rams. I'm not for sure who that is, to be honest. That must have flown under my radar. But obviously, guys, Joey Bosa is a huge signing for the Buffalo Bills. I think we're all kind of impressed by it, and I'm going to make a post about it as soon as I get off of here, and we are going to probably gloat about it. But let's move on. Let's move on to potentially one of the most improved teams so far this offseason. Let's talk about the team that was finished 5-12 last season. Let's talk about a team that is finally putting all the must-needed pieces together and making a nice little puzzle, and that is the one and only Chicago freaking Bears. Guys, the Chicago Bears have been adding a lot of great players this offseason. They're not adding that star power like a receiver or a quarterback or a running back or a stud defensive end, whatever. They're adding parts that their team needs, i.e. offensive line, defensive end, defensive tackle, and Deo from the Indianapolis Colts. Guys, when you look at the signings that the Chicago Bears have had already this offseason with 2 offensive linemen, Deo, another offensive lineman, a defensive tackle, are the Chicago Bears the most improved team so far this season? This offseason, guys, are the Chicago Bears the most improved season, or most improved team? We spoke about the Chicago Bears last Friday, I think it was Thursday. And I said, I cannot get hype about the Chicago Bears in March. I cannot get hyped about them in April or May or June or July or August or September or October. I can maybe start to get hyped about them in November if they're doing something. Because the truth of the matter is still the Chicago Bears. But I am going to waffle around this the best I can without giving you guys a direct answer. Let's just be flat out honest. The Chicago Bears, guys, did finish 5-12 last season. However, they were not a 5-win team. They were a broken team last season. They had broken spirited, they had broken offense, they had a broken defense. There's a reason why they fired their coach midseason last year. He should have been fired last offseason, but we digress from that. This offseason, so far, Ryan Poles has been doing his thing. They brought in Ben Johnson. First thing Ben Johnson did as soon as he stepped foot in Chicago, said, fuck the Packers. That got the Bears fans hyped. Then they traded for Joe Thuney. Then they brought in Joe Jackson. Then they brought in Deo, a beautiful defensive end from the Indianapolis Colts. They're adding all the parts that their teams needed. Along with all the parts that they're needing on the defensive side of the ball, they're filling all the holes. They still have 8 draft picks. They still have 8 draft picks, plus a 10th overall draft pick and 3 other picks in the 3rd round and above. 2 in the 3rd and 1 in the 2nd. Guys, now I am trying to be optimistic here. I am trying to be straight line, non-biased, because you know what? F the Chicago Bears, right? But the truth be told, guys, the Chicago Bears, they are definitely cooking something up there in Chicago. Ever since the passing of Virginia McCaskey, rest her soul, well, she's 102 years old, I believe it was. My man, BC Collins, was wishing ill will on her for the last 6 years, saying, get out of here, we hate you. But the Chicago Bears are heading in the right direction. They are hands down probably the most improved team so far in 2025. Now, they could be rivaled with the Patriots. The Patriots are making excellent moves over there. We need to dive into the Patriots coming up here very soon. But the truth of the matter is, guys, we cannot sleep on the Chicago Bears. This is me coming from a Chicago Bears non-fan. I guess you could call me a hater. This is coming from a person that I think the Chicago Bears are the worst franchise since sliced bread. This is coming from a person that was so glad when they were a 5-win team last season. But truth be told, guys, they were a Hail Mary away. They were a offensive lineman away. They were just, if the ball bounced one way or the other, they could have easily been a 12-win team last season. Let's just be honest about it. They could have easily have been a 12-win team last season. Them winning 5 games was a underlining great thing for them because it got, what's his face out. Can't even think of their coach's name right now. He's now the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys, right? Them winning 5 games last season gave them the ability to officially fire their coach. Why can I not remember his freaking name? Guys, help me out. To bring in Ben Johnson, to mentor Caleb Williams, to mentor that young offense, to give the ability to go out there and actually go out and get the pieces that they needed. Guys, the Chicago Bears are filling up the gas tank with premium fuel right now. The Chicago Bears used to be a minimum wage high school kid. That high school kid now went to college last season, graduated from college, and he just got his first big boy job making $60,000, $65,000 a year and able to put premium gas in his high rolling car. Now, will it correlate this season? Probably not, because at the end of the day, it is still the Chicago Bears. At the end of the day, they're still in a pretty tough division, if not the best division in football in the NFC North, with the Vikings, Lions, and Packers and Bears. Oh my. Now, I'm not saying they're going to be a 12-win team, 11-win team, Super Bowl team, playoff team, but I'm saying they're going to be fun to watch. They're going to be a hard-nosed, grinded-out team. Guys, if you are new to the NFL, or you need an NFC team to root for, the Chicago Bears is it. Root for the Chicago Bears. I think the Chicago Bears are the most in team so far this offseason. So far. Dallas Cowboys can still make some moves. Derek says they had 68 sacks last season. Yes, their offensive line was terrible. I believe we Googled it last week. They were ranked 28th in the NFL. That is tough. It is tough for a rookie quarterback to learn how to play the football game when he has like 1 second to survey the field and figure out something. That is tough. Hell, weren't there two games in a row where he had five plus sacks? It is tough. But there was a 4-game stretch there, where the Chicago Bears had a top 10 offensive line per PFF, right? There was a 3 or 4 game stretch where they had a top 10 offensive line. The Chicago Bears looked like a playoff team. They looked like a really, really good team. They actually got 3 of their 5 wins during that time. But the offensive line sucked. Maybe a little injuries, a little bit of turnover, whatever, yada, yada, yada. At the end of the day, they were the 28th overall team. Joe Tooney and Jonah Jackson is really going to help that out. Definitely going to help that out. James Strang says, yep, they are Chicago. Let's not forget that. But yes, they are taking steps in the right direction. I like Ben Johnson. Listen, I first found out about Ben Johnson about, 2018, 2017, when he was a wide receiver coach in Miami. And he had a lot of buzz, a lot of circulation about him then. And then all of a sudden, he's an offensive coordinator in Detroit. And bada bing, bada boom, look where he's at now. So yes, Ben Johnson is a very likable guy and going to do the right thing in Chicago if he's given a true chance. Now that Virginia McCaskey is gone, I don't know how much part of the actual decision-making she had, but now that there's a little bit of a shuffling up there and Ryan Poles seems to have his pulse on that team, I think a lot of good things are going to happen. My man Derek says Bears are making quality moves with Ben Johnson. New England is throwing around money because they have it. Derek, let's not get it twisted. We will talk about this probably Thursday. Give me some time to actually break down the New England Patriots signings. Mike Vrabel is doing a lot of good things over there. Mike Vrabel, now the Patriots wanted that big flashy name. Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins, DK, whatever. They wanted that big flashy name over there on the offense. But they're adding a lot of pieces over there. And the Patriots are going to be a totally different team. Hoffy's going to have a reason to get excited next year. Old Man River says Green Bay got better. Minnesota is balanced, and the Lions are just badass, baby. You are right, Old Man River. NFC North is tough. NFC North is tough. All 4 teams, in theory, should probably make the playoffs next season. Let's just be honest. Minnesota Vikings are the true wild card. But let's not get too carried away. James Frank says this is a bold prediction. James, let's put prefaces on this. March 11th at 10:12 p.m. on the East Coast time. James says the Chicago Bears will be 3rd in their division ahead of the Minnesota Vikings. Ooh, slow it down, baby.
Pigskin pun. Get you some.
Laura is a pigskin pundit. She's been a little MIA the last few weeks or so since the Super Bowl has been gone. But Laura, he's not coming at you. He's just speaking the truth. Alpha Rob says Williams was holding the ball way too long. Alpha Rob, you are correct. It was a perfect storm in Chicago, right? Once you start getting happy feet, start patting the ball, that is a recipe for disaster. But when your offensive line sucks and you're worried about looking down instead of looking down the field, it is definitely a recipe for disaster. My man JM's a beautiful dog right there. Beautiful dog. He says anyone can look great as an OC with great talent. Yes and no, right? I mean, obviously, Everybody in the NFL is talented, JAM. Let's not get that twisted. Let's not get crazy, right? Everybody in the NFL is an elite athlete. Now, there are better players out there than other players, yes. But let's just be flat out honest. All of those players on the Detroit Lions would not be number one in their position on the offensive side of the ball on many other teams. Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell had a great system in Detroit. They had a great system. A lot of players looked great because of the system. Now, I'm not saying it is all system, but I'm saying a lot of that talent looks great because of the system, and Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell put that system in place. Ben Johnson is now carrying that system with him into Chicago. We are going to see Keenan Allen probably ball out. We're going to see DJ Moore earn those dollar bills, y'all. Right? We are going to probably see Caleb Williams have a nice little breakout season. And I am a Chicago Bears naysayer, I guess you can say. If I had to pick a team out on the board, I'm saying I'm not rooting for the Chicago Bears ever. And I think they're going to be pretty damn good. I think they are. Chicago Bears do not have an offensive line, running back, quarterback that Detroit has. They do not, but they are improving. The offensive line got a hell of a lot better by adding Joe Jackson and Joe Thuney. The running back is still questionable, but still pretty decent, right? We don't know how the running back situation is going to be because the offensive line situation was so bad last season. Caleb Williams is going to be a good quarterback. I'm not saying he's going to be elite. I'm not saying he's going to be the greatest since sliced bread. I'm not even going to say he's going to be tier 1, but he is going to be a top 12, top 13 quarterback in 2025. Alfred says Pats are doing good things. James Frank says that is valid, but man, that dude Jameson Williams is a dog. Amon-Ra too. I think Amon-Ra is overrated. I think Amon-Ra has this big ego that has been stroked for way too long in Detroit. And now that Ben Johnson is gone, we are going to see egotistical Amon-Ra start to show. Jameson Williams just needs to worry about keeping his nose clean. He has the opportunity to be a nice number 2 receiver in the NFL as long as he keeps his nose clean. No more guns, no more gambling, no more doing cocaine or whatever he's doing, right? Keep his nose clean. He'll be all right. JM says they have nobody in the same zip code as Sewell or Rangono. Listen, Penny Sewell had a great season. Penny Sewell had a great, all-time great season last year. Yes, 100%. However, the system helps. Where was Penny Sewell before that? He wasn't the best right tackle in the NFL. There's a reason why he got traded / cut to the Detroit Lions. I'm just saying. But he is pretty good. He is pretty good. Speaking of pretty good, Chris Godwin and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers work out a 3-year deal to bring him back to the team in Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Guys, Chris Godwin was a free agent. Chris Godwin, I feel, was the X factor for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for many, many years. But was this a smart move by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to bring Chris Godwin back on this 3-year deal? Now, at the time, Chris Godwin got paid a lot of money. What was like $33 million, $44 million. Since then, obviously, we've seen DK Metcalf get paid, right? Amari Cooper's about to get paid as well. But at the time, Chris Godwin was the best free agent receiver out there and got the best payday. Actually, got the most value from him, right? Rumor has he actually took a pay cut to come back to Tampa. Now, we spoke on this earlier, like last week or 2 weeks ago, when free agency was coming up upon us, and I was going back and forth on the issue, saying that I'm not for sure if Chris Godwin and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should get remarried. I think they should go their separate ways. I did say, however, that I think Chris Godwin was the glue to hold the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the last couple of seasons, right? He was that glue. He was that X factor per se. However, last year when he went down last season after just 7 games, they did struggle for a few games, but then they got back on track. Other people started to step up. Chris Otten was the big X factor for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last season. Now, the real question is whether would they have still have lost those games with Chris Godwin or not. because they were kind of in the dog days of the NFL season, kind of like going through the motions at that particular point, and they needed a big old smack in the face. Needless to say, they did end up making the playoffs in 2024 with some help and ended up losing to the Commanders by 3. Yes, those same Washington Commanders that blew out John's Detroit Lions. So was it smart? 3 years, $66 million, $44 million guaranteed money? Guys, Chris Godwin was the best free agent wide receiver on the market. Let's just be clear about that. Let's just be flat out clear about that. He was the best free agent receiver on the market. Better than Amari Cooper, better than Stephon Diggs, better than whoever else is out there. Better than your mama. But $22 million per season seems like a great deal in a thirsty wide receiver market. He actually, like I said, he actually took a pay cut to stay in Tampa. But Mike Evans plus Chris Godwin was huge for Baker the last 2 seasons. We'll see if he's 100% from that ankle injury. But guys, was this a smart move? This was a smart move, yes, for 3 reasons. 1, there are not a lot of good wide receivers out there as of right now. There's not a lot of top tier number 2 receivers as of right now. We spoke about this a little bit earlier with T. Higgins, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, but we always skim over Chris Godwin. He goes out there and he does his job. Chris Godwin is the definition of a blue collar worker. He goes out there, he does his job. If he catches the ball, awesome. If he doesn't, he's still going to go out there and run routes to get other people open. Guys, Chris Godwin to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or re-signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, is a division-winning move. This is a division-winning move by bringing back Chris Godwin for $44 million guaranteed money for 3 years for $66 million. Guaranteed NFC South championship now with Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and Baker Mayfield back in time. Because let's be honest, Baker freaking Mayfield needs Chris Godwin. Baker freaking Mayfield needs Mike Williams. Now they're both there. Bada bing, bada boom. To the moon, baby. So what do you guys think? Was this a great move by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to bring back Chris Godwin? James Frank says yes, he supposedly took a pay cut to stay in Tampa. That's the rumors that we heard. How true is that? I don't really know. But we did see DK Metcalf get that 5-year, $150 million guaranteed money. But at the same time, we see other free agent receivers out there. Joshua Palmer getting like $33 million. We've seen Turpin get $18 million, right? There's the receiver market is needed, and there's not a lot of good guys out there. Old Man River says it will be the Bucs' 3rd division title in a row, baby. You are right. You are right. I do like me some Chris Godwin. Baker and his connection is fire, baby. James, I know you still miss Baker. Baker freaking Mayfield. Alpha Rob says, good move. Keep their 1-2 punch. So, here on Man Hour, here in my life in general, my real life, my work life, my home life, my Man Hour life, I always try to think on the positive, right? I always try to say that things happen for a reason. I always say, hey, this happens because of X, Y, Z. Now, obviously, Chris Godwin was a dislocated ankle, meaningless play at the end of the game, happened for a reason. It happened for a reason because that elevated Chris Otten. That made Mike Evans that more valuable, right? It made other players step up. So when Chris Godwin does come back, there's a number 3 option now. There's a number 4 option now. Hell, there's a number 5 option now, right? Chris Godwin will always be the number 2 guy. Mike Evans will always be the number 1 guy. But now Baker Mayfield has trust in Chris Otten. Now he has trust in Vaughn, right? He has trust in those other guys because of Chris Godwin did go down. James Frank says, I still got Baker's jersey hanging in the closet. I'm happy for him, though. Love me some Baker Mayfield. J.J. McCarthy. The future is now in Minnesota. The 10th overall draft pick is now the starter in Minnesota as Sam Darnold goes on to greener pastures per se. So, guys, J.J. McCarthy will be starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings in 2025, barring Aaron Rodgers comes into town. Guys, the Minnesota Vikings were 14-3 last season. They had a very, very positive upside season. Granted, the last 2 games of the season kind of sucked, but 14 wins is nothing to be upset about. But, guys, what happens if J.J. McCarthy fails? What happens if the Minnesota Vikings are the 4th place team? I believe that James said, right? What happens if the Minnesota Vikings do go from a 14-win team to a 7-win team? What happens? Like I said, the Vikings had a great 2024 NFL campaign. 14-3. Nothing to be upset about whatsoever. However, the last 2 games of the year are ones to forget. Final game of the season, battling for the division, battling for that number 1 overall seed, 31-9 loss to the Detroit Lions. So welcome to the playoff football, baby. Here's your beer. Next up, playoff loss to the LA Rams, 27-9, which they was outplayed, they was outcoached, they was out everything in that particular game. It seemed like the Minnesota Vikings had no reason to be on that field whatsoever. Now, the Vikings do have the best offensive system in the NFL. We talk about system. We talk about Ben Johnson's system in Detroit, now in Chicago, Sean McVay's in LA, Andy Reid's in Kansas City. The Minnesota Viking guys have the best quarterback-friendly system in the NFL, hands down, period, no questions about it. They also have the best receiver in the game, no question about it, Justin Jefferson. They do have the best number 2 receiver in the league in Jordan Addison, no question about it. They also just signed Aaron Jones to a 2-year deal as well. A top 10 running back in the NFL. No question about it. J.J. McCarthy was a 10th overall pick in last year's draft. And he was expected to start in 2024, but he was sidelined by the meniscus injury and did not see the field at all in 2024. Now, the expectations in Minnesota are very, very high. The expectations in Minnesota are to battle for the division, to win the NFC title, to go to the Super Bowl. Let's just be flat out honest. Sam Darnold was a top 5 quarterback in the NFL last season, and we expect top 10 quarterback play out of J.J. McCarthy going into 2025. We expect the Minnesota Vikings to win the NFC North title. We expect him to win a playoff game or 2 minimum. But guys, this is all going to come crumbling down. At the end of the day, J.J. McCarthy is a second-year player, but he is a rookie. First time stepping on the NFL field in game-time situation. J.J. McCarthy looks like a high school kid. He needs to hit the weight room. He needs to grow a beard. He needs a haircut. The truth be told, he is set up for failure in Minnesota in 2025. The Minnesota Vikings should have signed Sam Darnold to a 2-year deal, franchise tag. They should have signed Sam Darnold. Let's just be 100% honest. We don't know if the knee is 100% repaired. I mean, usually when you have a meniscus tear and you have surgery, you're back in like 6 weeks tops. He was out the whole NFL season, 18, 20, 25 weeks. I think he's just now on the field throwing the ball, doing some leg work. Like what? A meniscus tear. Clean that shit out and go on, right? Guys, J.J. McCarthy is set up to fail. The Minnesota Vikings are set up to fail in 2025. What happens if he fails? People are going to be rumbling. People are going to be pissed off. Oh, we should have signed Sam Darnold. Oh, we should have brought Aaron Rodgers in. Oh, J.J. McCarthy's trash, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Minnesota Vikings fans, give J.J. McCarthy a chance to grow. Expect a down year. Expect your season to 2025 to be like we expected last season to be. Many people said that they're going to be a 6-5 win team tops. Now, I know all you Minnesota Vikings fans, oh, the greatest things is sliced bread. Stop it. Stop it. Expect a down year. Alpha Rob says, it happens. It will start with the curse of Sam Darnold. So Alpha Rob is already putting a name on it. Alpha Rob is already saying it is a curse of Sam Darnold if J.J. McCarthy fails. Let's call it the SD curse. Patent 2025, right? Emmanuel Zerg says T. Higgins is the best number 2 receiver in the NFL. No. He also says Jamar Chase is the best receiver in the NFL. No. He says both of those receivers are better than Minnesota Vikings receivers. No. And Old Man River says we expect J.J. McCarthy to be 100%. Old Man River is now a Minnesota Vikings fan. Add that to the list.
Pigskin pun. Get you some.
He is a pigskin pundit, so we give him a pass. We give him a pass. But, hey, it is what it is. Derek says, do the wide receivers let him loose gracefully? Let him lose gracefully. I'm not for sure how you can lose gracefully and how the wide receivers can do that. I'm not for sure what you're asking there, Derek. But it is what it is. All right, guys. We are bringing back a new old segment. The new old segment is called What The? That's right. I've been scouring the old interwebs, and I'm being like, think. First up on the old What Does is going to go out to the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills signed ex-Charger Josh Palmer to a 3-year, $36 million contract. Guys, Josh Palmer was a 63rd ranked wide receiver last season out of 98. His receiving grade was 62nd in the NFL. His overall grade was 67. That was 57th in the NFL. Not a very good receiver. Last year, he caught 39 balls on 63 targets. 15 of those which were drops. 15 drops last season. He had 584 yards receiving last season with touchdowns. With one touchdown, I should say. Now, I do understand that Amari Cooper is a free agent. I understand that you want to bring back Amari Cooper, but adding Josh Palmer for a 3-year, $36 million deal, adding a quarterback or adding a receiver that has 15 drops last season, adding a receiver that can make the ridiculous catch, one hand above his head, behind his back, doing this, but he can't catch the ball, hits him in the chest. Buffalo Bills. You guys get the what the? Next up on the what does, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Guys, I do like what the Jacksonville Jaguars are doing right now. They are trimming the fat. They are cleaning house. They're bringing in their own players. And by doing so, they added Dyami Brown on a 1-year, $10 million contract from the Washington Commanders from last season. He is entering his 5th year of his NFL career. His first 4 years with the Commanders, Brown had 784 yards catching in the NFL. That's not 784 yards last season. That's total in the last 4 seasons in the regular season, along with 4 total touchdowns in his 4-year career, averaging 1 touchdown per season. Now, last season, he did average 10 yards per catch, and he caught the ball 30 times on 40 targets. Not terrible little ratio there, right? He definitely was the number 3 and the number 4 receiver. With that being said, in the postseason, he did go off a little bit. In the postseason, he did get 229 yards and nearly his full 17-game total, which was 300 and some odd yards. He had 1 touchdown on 14 catches on 18 targets in the postseason. He averaged 16.4 yards per catch. Now, Jacksonville Jaguars, I understand you are making moves. I understand you're bringing in your guys. But signing Dyami Brown to a 1-year, $10 million deal, you could have got him a hell of a lot less. You guys get the what the? But the San Francisco 49ers, guys, they're losing guys left and right on the defensive side of the ball. Dre Greenlaw, their safety, left tackle, right tackle. They're losing everybody on their defense. It seems like, and to stop the bleeding, they bring in a tight end, Luke Farell, on a 3-year, $20.25 million deal. So when you're losing all of your defensive players, when you're trying to make room to pay a quarterback that's overrated, overhyped, and underperformed the last season in Brock Purdy, you bring in a tight end on a 3-year, $20 million deal. A tight end that even wasn't first on the Jacksonville Jaguars last season. A tight end that I had to go to the 3rd page of Google to find his stats on. San Francisco 49ers, this is your big offseason move. This is your move that's going to stop the bleeding? This is the move that's going to make the fan base happy? You guys get the what the? The day, if you guys ever have a what the, you send them over here to me on Twitter at manhour_buck on the old Twitter machine, or you can pick up a Picks and Punt and slide into the inbox, and bada bing bada boom, we'll get your what does up there. Guys, we'll do what does every Tuesday moving forward. Toxic Tuesday is out because Mark was a toxic guy and we got him out. So guys, if you are friends with Mark D, distance yourselves from Mark D because he's a very toxic individual. If you guys want to know more insights on that, you don't want to know. But it's time for a little bit of fact and a little bit of crap. All right, guys, so fact or crap is very, very simple. This is a live, interactive show. We got 3 fact or craps for you for today. So in the comments below, guys, determine if thing is a fact, you agree with it, or it indeed is a crap. We scour the old interwebs, we see what people are talking about, and I determine if it is a fact or crap with your help included. So the first fact or crap of the day. The Kansas City Chiefs are finally making some off-season moves. Yes, they're losing a lot of key parts on their defense and a few parts on their offense as well, but they have re-signed Nick Bolton, and they did just pick up Kristian Fulton from the LA Chargers, which I think secretly is not a terrible move. But, guys, fact or crap, with the addition of Kristian Fulton to the Kansas City Chiefs, does this make this defense great again? Are the Kansas City Chiefs going to be a top 10 defense yet again in 2025? Guys, the last 3 seasons, the Kansas City Chiefs have had a top 10 defense. In 2024, they were the 9th ranked overall defense in the NFL. They were, however, 18th ranked in pass defense. Jalen Watson has a chance to be a top cornerback in the league. Only time will tell. He had a broken leg last season, only played, 6 games, but he has a chance to be a top cornerback in the league. Trent McDuffie is a top cornerback in the league. You won't see his stats blow you off because people just choose not to throw to his side of the field. Hell, he got his first career interception last season, I think week 17. Trent McDuffie is the real deal. But adding depth to the secondary is exactly what the Kansas City Chiefs need. Yes, they did lose Justin Reed. They did lose their defense of tackles to bigger, better paydays out there. However, Steve Spagnuolo is a defensive mastermind. Steve Spagnuolo puts the Kansas City Chiefs players in a lot of right places. So, guys, fact or crap, with the addition of Fulton, will the Kansas City Chiefs defense be great yet again? Guys, I have to say fact. Maybe it's the homerist in me. Maybe it's the Kansas City Chiefs flag there. Maybe it's the world championship hat right here. Maybe it's the back-to-back Super Bowl flag hanging right over there. Maybe it's the Super Bowl hat hanging right there and the NFC Championship hat right there. Maybe it's all of that. But ever since Steve Spagnuolo has set foot in Kansas City, he has been getting that Kansas City Chiefs defense better and better and better. His first couple years here, it took him about 8 weeks to figure it out. Then from 9 weeks on, top 10 defense. Next year, took him about 10 weeks to figure it out. From week 11 on, top 10 defense. This last 2 seasons was the first time in a long time that I've seen the Kansas City Chiefs defense be really locked down and dominant, right? The Kansas City Chiefs defense won a lot of games in 2024. As long as they have Nick Bolton, as long as they have Trent McDuffie, as long as they have Chris Jones, as long as they have Chanel, the Kansas City Chiefs defense is going to be a top 10 defense. Guys, I don't see any reason why the Kansas City Chiefs will not be a top 10 defense in 2025. I have no reason to believe that they will take a step back. I have no reason to believe that the loss of Justin Reed cannot be replaced. We replaced the guy that got traded to Tennessee to the Tennessee Titans just last season, just fine. Kristian Fulton is a great depth piece add. Kristian Fulton is going to help elevate the Kansas City Chiefs defense into that next level. So, guys, fact or crap, will the Kansas City Chiefs defense be great next season? Alpha Rob says, let me be clear, Buck. Let me be clear. I don't know why my chat's not coming up here. Oh, because we're over here. There we go. It says, let me be clear. They are slipping last year. The Kansas City Chiefs defense were slipping last year, and they're going to continue to slip in 2025. Alpha Rob, you are not wrong. toward the end of the season, the last 3, 4, 5 weeks of the NFL season, the Kansas City Chiefs defense did start to get exposed yet a little bit, right? However, they were on the field a lot. Much like the Las Vegas Raiders. They have a pretty good defense. Let's not get it twisted. Let's not throw any shade at there, but they're on the defense. They were on the field a lot. Pittsburgh Steelers defense was on the field a lot. Even the best of the best defenses get tired. And the Kansas City Chiefs defense was getting tired toward the end of the season, and it started to show. You are exactly right. However, I anticipate this year's offense to be a little bit better. I anticipate this year's offense to actually maybe take a couple steps forward instead of slowly digressing. And when the offense does well, the defense does well because it can play with the lead a little bit easier on the old skin and bones. You're saying crap. And I can see that, right? I can see that. Excuse me. Old Man River says it is crap. He says, I'm a Raiders fan, you're a Chiefs fan, and you're wrong. Old Man River, I can respect that. Emmanuel Zorg says, got that buck spanked in the bowl, though. You're exactly right. The Kansas City Chiefs did get spanked in the Super Bowl. Emmanuel, who was your team? Was your team in the Super Bowl? Was your team in the Super Bowl the year before that? Or the year before that? Or 2 years before that? I'm just asking for a friend. Asking for a friend. Junis Howard, 1 year anniversary follow. What's up, Junis? He says it is facts. Steve Spagnuolo knows what he is doing. Guys, Steve Spagnuolo might be the best defensive coordinator that we've seen in a very, very long time. Now, Aaron Glenn is no slouch, right? But Aaron Glenn only did it for what, 2 years, 3 years tops? Steve Spagnuolo has been doing it for about 10 years. Steve Spagnuolo and Spags we trust, as I think they say, right? And Spags we trust. Next up here, guys, the old factor crap. The Houston Texans. They have been very active this offseason, making trades for Kristian Kirk and other big names as well. But most recent trade, they just traded for C.J. Gardner-Johnson for offensive lineman Keanu Green. Guys, the Houston Texans signing players, trading players, they are ready to get over that hump, meaning the Super Bowl. Guys, factor crap. Will the Houston Texans be top dogs in the AFC in 2025? The AFC is very, very top heavy. The AFC is very, very good. Let's just be honest. When you look at the top four teams, hands down, the Buffalo Bills, Baltimore Ravens, the Kansas City Chiefs, and then you could probably throw in the Cincinnati Bengals in there as well, potentially. And then beyond that, it's very convoluted from 4 to about 8. You got the Broncos, you got the Chargers. You will always have to put the Steelers' name in your mouth, whether you want to admit it or not. They are always there. And then there's other teams like the Indianapolis Colts that are always there for some reason, somehow, some way. The Miami Dolphins could potentially be better, but it's very, very convoluted. Now, the Texans have won the AFC South now in back-to-back years with C.J. Stroud and DeMeco Ryans at the helm. They had a sneakily good defense last season, but the offense was terrible at times. You can call it sophomore slump. You can call it a terrible offensive line. You can call it that Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs going down hurt them even more. But truth be told is they gave up 5 sacks to the New York Jets last season. Now, they have traded some parts of their offensive line from last season, and they're at 100% in rebuild mode. That offensive line is being rebuilt from the ground up as of right now. However, like the defense, like I said, was sneakily good back in 2024. They actually had the 6th ranked pass defense in the NFL and the 6th ranked overall defense in the NFL. Let's not forget that they added Danielle Hunter from the Minnesota Vikings last season. Adding C.J. Garner is a good swagger move and a depth piece for the Houston Texans. But the addition of Keanu Green might be the biggest head scratch of all time. Adding an offensive lineman that was ranked 131st out of 135 guards last season, giving him a 38.6 overall grade. He was 107th out of 135 in pass blocking and 131 out of 135 in run blocking. Not really eye-raising numbers or stats or eye-raising move. offensive line is the biggest question mark in Houston, and they maybe might address this in the draft, but as of right now, I'm not sold on the Houston Texans. So I am saying that it is crap. The Texans are not top dogs in the AFC. Hell, they may not even be top dogs in the AFC South. Jacksonville Jaguars are making a lot of moves. Jacksonville Jaguars were just in the playoffs just a couple years ago. Injuries beat them out the last couple seasons, but they might be back. They're making a lot of good moves. So, guys, fact or crap? Will the Houston Texans be top dogs in the AFC? It is 100% crap. They're not even top dogs in the AFC South. So, what do you guys think? Fact or crap? Alpha Rob is saying crap. He is saying crap. Old Man River says in the South, they are top dogs. Colts can't compete. Titans can't compete. Jaguars can't compete. And Old Man River, I want you to slow it down, baby. When you get first place in your division, you get a first place schedule. We've seen the Houston Texans. They got a pretty good defense. Their defense is bar none a top 10 defense. Their defense is sneakily really, really, really good. Let's just be honest. But it is not a fact. It is not a fact. And Old Man River says they are 3 times AFC champs in a row. You are correct. But CJ Stroud and D'Amico Ryans is a 2-time champion. 2-time champion. And actually, no, it's only 2 times. It's only 2 times in a row. Judah says, fact, that division is theirs. So Judas is saying they will win the AFC South. There's no question about it. The AFC South is theirs. But guys, that is going to be it for today. Another great show for you guys. Counting this year, Buck. They're not winning it this year. It's going to be the Jags. But guys, we are out for today. We'll be back live, raw, uncut tomorrow, 9 p.m. East Coast time. Some more NFL free agency is going to be happening here. It looks like Cardinals nose tackle Roy Lopez is signing a 1-year, $4.65 million with the Lions per source. All right, guys. Until then, see you tomorrow.
Hey, now it's time to take off. Gotta keep it live and raw. Better stay tuned in. Man, our NFL talk. I know that you ready for more. They on the field, ready for war. Who's in the lead? I'm checking the score. We about to do it like never before. NFL live, uncut, raw. This is Man Hour NFL Talk. Let's go.